24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is UYI Radio. Unlock your inner genius. www.uyiradio.com.
Hello there, UYI Radio listeners. You are tuned in with Kesha. Today's hot topic is about racial tension. We are joined today by Margot. Margot, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Brilliant. We're just going to be discussing about the Black Lives Matter movement across America following the deaths of some black people in America over the last few weeks and the media coverage surrounding that. Just to let you know, the YouTube watchers, feel free to leave your comments in the box below. Or you can either email us, Kesha@uiradio.com, Kesha spelled Kesha, or you can leave your feedback and comments on our Twitter or Facebook pages just by typing in UYI Radio. So I'm just going to give a brief overview about our discussion topic today and then ask Margot for her thoughts, if that's all right.
That's fine.
So I'll just begin with giving you a bit of background information about the Black Lives Matter hashtag that was created in 2012 after Trayvon Martin's murder in America. George Zimmerman was acquitted for the crime of the 17-year-old's death, and it's sparked a massive discussion point not only across America but in the UK recently, as I'm just going to read out some names of some black men who have been killed and why the Black Lives movement exists and what they do and what message they're trying to portray. So I'm just going to read these names: Alton Sterling, Philandro Castile, Tamar Rice, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown and Freddie Gray. These are all black gentlemen in America who have been killed by police officers for various different reasons. A lot of these crimes have been filmed and the world has seen, how these actions have unfolded, and it has caused an enormous amount of tension amongst black communities across America, which has now started to filter over into the UK. So, Margot, have you heard about these stories in the media recently?
To be perfectly honest, I heard some of them. I wasn't very aware about the Black Lives Matter protesters and movement. However, I did some research, for the purpose of the show, and I got some more information. So,
yeah, well, the biggest thing that's hit the headlines recently is the death of 37-year-old Alton Sterling. He was shot multiple times after being pinned down to the ground by two police officers in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, on July the 5th, and that was because he was selling some CDs outside of a convenience store. Now, this video has unfolded. It's all available on Facebook, Twitter, all kind of different platforms of social media of Alton being killed. And obviously there's been some serious questions which have arisen about the conduct of these police officers. Just to let you know, the topics that we're discussing today is a little bit sensitive. Obviously, we are talking about, death amongst community. So if you're not happy with the discussion of topic, please feel free to look at some of our other UYI radios, other topics that we discuss, or our videos. But if you're okay to proceed, I'm just going to let you know that the day after Alton was killed, there was another video that was live streamed on Facebook by the girlfriend of Philandro Castile. He was a 32-year-old who was shot dead in his car by police. And his girlfriend obviously streamed the aftermath, of him subsequently passing away in his car. Now, this has prompted the Black Lives Matter protests to come out in force. They were heavily present on the street after the death of Trayvon Martin, which we'll discuss a bit in a moment. But they've been accused of stirring racial tensions amongst communities, not only in America, but across the pond here in Britain, after there were some protests staged in London recently, with this trending of Black Lives Matters. But like a lot of other racial groups are obviously saying that it's not just black lives that matters, it's all lives that matter. But obviously the highlight is on, black people, black young men in particular, being shot and killed by police officers for what has been described as sometimes no apparent reason. Do you think there is a danger of society nowadays becoming, more racially focused, and there being tension, on across the pond now because these issues are being highlighted, and, people have difference of views, and sometimes people clash with their difference of views?
I think, take into consideration we are living in 21st century. It is such a shame that we are still actually facing those kind of issues. I was, when I was just doing research, and I was just talking with some people actually yesterday, I was actually shocked shocked that these things is still happening. We are not actually progressing. We are not actually making our life much more human life. We're kind of trying just to segregate people according to the race, ethnicity, and like I said, I was watching some great videos just to give me a little bit more insight, why actually people do stuff like this. And unfortunately, we are fed by media, we are fed by very influential people that we actually teach to hate. And this is something which we really need to stop. It's something we need somebody who's going just to be able just to come up with some great solution, great healing solution. Because even like during the Second War, and Nazis just decided just to create Second War, they just been coming up with this kind of vision of superior race, trying to kill everybody around because they were different. And actually, if you look at the situation now, it's no big difference. People are different because they've got different color of the skin, so they're just trying just to kill them. They're just trying to punish them. They are coming from different country. They have got different language and they are punished for this.
I think some of the criticism that the Black Lives Matter group has had is the fact that they're focused on just black people. But obviously, racism is in many different forms. It's for religion. It could be for discriminationary purposes. Like it varies. But it's just the fact that the spotlight is on these young black men who are being killed. I mean, I'm just going to highlight you to a case briefly of 12-year-old Tamra Rice, who was shot and killed in Cleveland in America for playing with a toy gun in the park. Now, is that justifiable to shoot a 12-year-old for playing in a park? This is the type of stories that the Black Lives Matter group are trying to highlight, that saying that because these people are black, they are being targeted by police, being shot and killed, and nobody is being held accountable for it.
You can't have excuse for killing somebody because he's black, or for how you can kill child who's 12 years old playing in the park with that gun-looking toy. How you can excuse this? What kind of reasoning is behind this? And I think it's just a time for people just to understand that we can't sometimes stay ignorant, because you really need to sometimes to say this is enough. You can't do stuff like this.
Yeah, I think people forget that obviously just because this is a massive issue that's happening in America at the moment, it does affect us over here. I'll just bring you back to the 2011 riots that began in London after 29-year-old Mark Duggan, a Tottenham resident, was shot and killed by police in Tottenham for being a suspected gang member, and subsequently that led to rioting, fires, unrest across the UK in August 2011. That's still being highlighted as a black issue that happened in this country, pushed under the carpet. And these type of tensions are going to start rising again when these issues are highlighted, especially in the media.
I think this is actually, when we look at this and when we're starting researching, this is just the top of the iceberg. I think people have been staying so ignorant for so long, not actually looking for a solution, that now we are actually facing escalation of something which got absolutely out of the control.
Well, UII radio listeners, remember you can always give your comments about the show and our discussion topics. Hit us up on Twitter or on Facebook, just type in UII radio, or leave your comments in the box underneath. Obviously, this is a very sensitive subject to be talking about. We welcome all views, all opinions, but we just need to remember that we should all just stick together. Whether you're black, white, it doesn't matter about your ethnicity. We don't discriminate on this radio station. So like I say, feel free to email in social media your comments. We will be discussing this topic a little bit more in depth over the coming weeks, as obviously there's still some stories developing. But like I say, we welcome your comments. Thank you, Margot, for your input this morning. Thank you, UI Radios, for listeners for listening. Feel free to leave your comments on the box below, just down there. And we'll speak to you soon. Take care, guys.
God bless.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
24/7 around the world, non-stop. This is UYI Radio. Unlock your inner genius. www.uyiradio.com